Hello guys and welcome back to The Mole episode 5, and we are officially halfway through the competition now, which is really exciting. Do I feel like I have any idea who the mole is? I have narrowed it down to a couple of suspects based on their behaviour in the last couple of episodes and this episode. So before we get into it, I just want to say thank you guys very much for the support on the channel. You guys are absolutely fantastic. Make sure to keep it up. Make sure to put your thoughts and feelings in the description. But remember, only post spoilers up until the episode that I'm talking about. Assume that everyone has not seen past this episode, so do not be putting episode 7 spoilers on episode 5, okay? Other than that, thank you guys very much. You guys are stars, and I will see you guys in the video. Let's go. So, we have the quiz and the elimination to start off the episode. First of all, doing the elimination and quiz on the top of a high-rise building on a helipad is crazy. I genuinely didn't realize the budget this show has to make it look epic and awesome. I think this show looks so much fun to do, and like, even though the challenges can be quite tough, I feel like I would love to do these kind of challenges. They're so lateral thinking, they're full of puzzles, and that's where I thrive best. There's a couple of challenges coming up in the next few episodes that I worked out before they'd even worked it out. Like, I worked it out immediately, and I was like, damn, if I was there, ain't nobody telling me I'm a mole. And if I am the mole, it's gonna be so hard to act like I don't know what's going on, because I worked it out immediately and it was kind of crazy. But anyway, moving back to the elimination, unfortunately, Tony was the person out in this episode, which kind of surprised me. I really didn't expect Tony to be out of here. However, it does raise the question of Hannah switching her thoughts and feelings on Ryan. Did that boost her in the ratings and mean that actually she was doing a little bit better than Tony and therefore got through? Because Tony and Hannah had been sharing their thoughts and feelings and discussions and things like that, and they had like a similar idea on who they thought the mole was. I don't think Hannah's the mole personally. I feel like she's too team money at this point to be the mole, and the only proper sabotage that she's done is the whole exemption card thing with her and Tony. So I don't feel like that was ever in question personally, but it does make me wonder, did her switching a couple of her answers to Ryan boost her a little bit, or was it just pot luck? Did Tony have an idea on someone that he actually ended up getting wrong? So the challenge for this episode was crazy personally, because it was so frustrating and annoying, and it really actually angered me personally. So we had them brought to a shipping yard with loads of containers. Now I was like, what are they going to do here? And essentially what they had to do is they had to run around the containers, find the ones marked USA, get all of the crates from there, bring them back to the start position, and then they would have to load them onto the trucks in front of them. However, the trucks in front of them had names on, and the names were the people who had been voted the most likely to be the mole at the last quiz. And those three people were Michael, Sean, and Muna. Now, very interesting those three names got brought up, because I am sus on all of them, but there's someone that I'm more sus on, and that person is Ryan. I will explain more on that a little bit later. But for now, I do feel like there is an element of sabotage here. But whether the sabotage is intentional from the mole, or whether it is deliberate by the people who are not the mole, is something that I'm trying to work out. Because theory dictates that most of the people voted for Michael at the last, what's it called? The last quiz. Hannah, Nish, and Ryan, I think, all were open about the fact that they voted for Right. No, maybe it wasn't Ryan. I think it might have been Diana. No, Diana voted for Muna. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at the end of the day. But 3 people definitely voted for Muna. Not Muna. Michael. So that means 3 out of the 8 people voted for Muna. No, Michael. The M names are really jarring me today. So, essentially, it makes me think, why did Michael and Sean both decide to lie about choosing Muna, essentially swaying the vote towards Muna's side? Because I think Hugh and Diana said that they voted for Muna. Muna obviously didn't vote for herself, and I can't remember what Ryan said she voted for. It was either Michael or somebody else. But we know that Michael voted for Sean, and we know that Sean probably voted for Michael, which means that Michael would be the person that you'd want to put the money into. So obviously, once they've got the cash back, they found a doubler as well, which, don't even get me started on the doubler because I was so angry at this challenge. Theory dictates that it should be Michael, just from the fact that 3 people definitely voted for him and like were certain on that. But when they come to putting it in there, oh god, it was painful because they put 25 grand into Muna's truck. They put about 19 grand into Michael's, but they also put the doubler in Muna's. So I was just sat there going, really? Really? Is that what we're doing here? We're just throwing away 50 grand because Michael and Sean wanted to lie and sway the vote towards Muna's direction. I was so angry because I thought at this point, either you've just got to be wanting to lose money or you actually are the mole, one of you two. Sean, I'm going backwards and forwards on because I feel like they're making him too obvious to be the mole, but also he's not exactly helping himself with all of his actions when he's like, oh, I'm going to deliberately sabotage. I'm like, is that just a ploy? Is he pretending to sabotage because he's actually innocent and he wants people to vote for him so that they go home? Or is he deliberately trying to be like a sabotager because he's trying to make it out like he isn't the mole, but he actually is? Same with Michael. Michael's screwing my head. I still can't get over the fact that in episode 2, he was the one that dashed the first aid box when he was swimming underwater. Like, there's actual footage of him going with it. So I just don't understand what their motives were here. Why not just play it and go with the money? Or just say, like, Michael could have easily gone, oh, I didn't vote for any of these 3 people, so I'm not included in this. He could have easily done that, but instead he's swayed the vote to Muna. Same with Sean. He could have easily said the same thing, which would have meant that Michael had the majority vote. Which, so angry. So, by the end of this challenge, $5,000 was put into Sean's van, so they lost 5 grand. 19,500 was put into Michael's van, so that's what they gained from this challenge. And they put 50 grand, that's with the doubler, into the van that said Muna's name on it. And I was like, oh god. Oh, I'm so angry. I worked out immediately that it was Michael, just from the fact that 3 people immediately went, yeah, I voted for Michael. And then 2 people voted for Muna. And then suddenly it was like, oh, well, I voted for Muna as well. And everyone went, what? Oh, yeah, this was a whole debacle. And the reason this went down badly is because of Sean and Michael. There was no other interference as far as I can tell outside of those 2. So if it's not one of those 2, I just don't know at this point. I really don't, because it's really frustrating to watch. So this group is probably the worst at saving money ever. They're horrendous. Every single time there's a chance to win some money, they work out a way to screw themselves over and lose the money, or just not make any money. Like in this episode, they could have easily made 100 grand. 100 grand, and what did they walk away with? Less than a fifth of that. That is crazy. So I've got in my notes here, they are awful at saving money, because every single time there's like, oh, there's a temptation here, would you like to take it? They're like, yes, give me the temptation. But this challenge was essentially a bidding war. Prove that you can be selfless by avoiding temptation, and you will get money for every time no one bids on something. So the first bid was information on your fellow players. If you look at the information, you bid on it, then you get 15 minutes of it, and it might give you some information on your fellow contestants, which could take you further in the game. Fortunately, nobody bid on it, and I was so happy and grateful, because I thought, actually, someone could have easily just like put a fiver in and been like, oh yeah, I bet $5, and they'd have lost $5,000, but that person would have gained the money. I think I probably would have done that. I would have bid like a really ridiculously low number, and then we haven't actually lost anything from the pot. Yeah, we've stopped. I've stopped us from getting 5k, but also like I've not lost us that much money. Do you know what I mean? Then the second round was for a correction, not connection, a correction. The correction on the quiz could be the difference between you staying or whether you going home. But I don't know. It's a tough one, because I also don't think getting one more answer right is worth it at this point in the game. There's still a lot of players, there's still a lot of chances for you not to end up in the bottom or be anywhere near going home. The only person that's guaranteed to make it through each round is the mole. But there are some people that I think that they're onto it. They're on the money and they're doing really, really well. So again, nobody bought it. So now their prize fund is up to £59,500, which is the most money they've had in this competition, I think. I think they might have had 60k, but we're back up to where we were. Do you know what I mean? We're back up to where we were after the last time we lost money, which was the bloody home videos at the cinema. God, that was so frustrating to watch, because I was like, actually, some people just didn't learn anything. We learned that Sean is actually an undercover cop, which was very useful information. But again, it makes me feel like he might not be the mole. And that's why I was sitting here thinking in this episode, I was like, Sean's being too obvious with his sabotages. So I just feel like he's not the mole. So the last thing that they could bid on was an exemption. And obviously I knew every single fucker in this building is going to be voting for that exemption. It just depended how much money there was that they bid for. In the last series, I think it was 23,000 that someone bid for an exemption, which was a lot of money. But in this episode, someone bid the entire prize fund on getting that exemption. Now, I'm not going to say I blame them. If I'm being 100% honest, that exemption could be the difference between them staying or them going that night. And when I tell you, everyone was angry, everyone was fuming, and I'll be honest, they didn't tell us who it is. I know who it is, and all I'm going to say is, if you watch the scene very carefully, this person sits very quietly and doesn't really say much. And it's quite obvious that it was them. Oh, it was so awkward. It was so awkward because all of that money that they've just saved up, gone instantly. Kapoosh. Boom. $0 in the prize fund. I can't believe it. I genuinely didn't think that would ever happen on this show, but it has. And that is unfortunately where we're going to have to end off today. So, if you enjoyed the episode, make sure to like, comment and subscribe. Let me know who you thought the mole was at this point in the series. Don't be telling me who your thoughts were at the end of episode 8, because that's cheating. Let me know who you were thinking after this episode. And yeah, my current predictions are it's Michael or Sean. I do have sus on Ryan, but Ryan wasn't really at the forefront of this episode, and I didn't notice any dodgy actions from her. So therefore, I can't really be too on her currently. But we'll see how that goes moving forward. Other than that, thank you guys very, very much for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed, and I will see you guys later. Keep on ranting. Bye now.